What if I told you that some of the most powerful shinobi in the Naruto universe didn't rely on tail beasts or forbidden jutsu, but instead they tapped into the very energy of nature itself, a form that is so rare and so sacred that it turned ninja into demigod who are capable of matching gods, obviously depending on how strong their base power level was. That power is called Sage Mode, a transformation that channels the power of the natural world into raw spiritual force, but this power, it comes at a cost and a deep connection to ancient Eastern philosophy. In today's newest edition of the Ninjutsu Handbook over here on the Naruto Explained YouTube channel, we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know about Sage Mode, taking a deep dive, going over everything from the godlike powers and the terrifying potential to the roots in Buddhism, Shintoism, and the soul of the Naruto world itself. So this will not just be your standard Sage Mode explained video. So Sage Mode, also known as senjutsu, is a heightened state that a shinobi enters after perfectly blending their own chakra with the nature energy of the world around them. It's not just a power-up, it's a enlightenment through training, balance, and harmony with the planet itself. Only a few can survive that training. Not everyone has the high chakra reserves as stated in the manga to even attempt the training, and even fewer can master it even if they have the chakra levels needed to undergo the training. So Sage Mode allows the user to enter into a state where their physical abilities, perception, and jutsu, they're all enhanced to a superhuman level. But unlike most forms of power in the Naruto world, Sage Mode isn't about aggression. It's about unity in the universe when you look at it symbolically. It should be worth noting that the one thing that all the three primary types of Sage Mode we have, which are Toad Sage Mode, Snake Sage Mode, and whatever Hashiramas is called because it's never actually named, there is a commonality there. You have to have a perfect balance of nature energy drawn in that matches your own chakra. So let's use a visual representation. If you have a chakra bar that is a 100 in terms of quantity, then the precise amount of nature energy you need to draw in to effectively use Sage Mode perfectly is a 100 in terms of quantity. In order to help people train to learn how to use Sage Mode to get this balance, the toads at Mount Miyaboku, they took a more patient approach. They gave the person toad oil in order to help them with their training, and they have special weapons to knock nature energy out of someone if, say, they take in too much. However, the Great White Snake Sage is a different monster altogether, both literally and figuratively. So the fourth Naruto databook tells us flat out that if you're deemed to have a body that is compatible with the Sage Mode and you choose to undergo the process, he's going to inject you with nature energy, and if your body can't handle it, then he's going to flat out eat you. There are literally 0 second chances here. Either you master it or you die. Now, in terms of the powers and abilities of Sage Mode, they're plentiful. There are a lot of benefits. So what exactly can Sage Mode do? You have enhanced physical stats. You have superhuman speed. You have superhuman strength, you have durability. Naruto's able to smash giant boulders or move faster than most eyes can track. Even punches with Sage Mode, they carry the weight of nature behind them, especially when you use Frog Kata, which we'll touch on later. So you have sensory perception. Users can sense chakra over vast distances and even detect invisible or hidden enemies. Naruto in Sage Mode, he was able to sense evil intent and find Nagato's real body several miles away. He was able to reverse track him. Then you have Frog Kata, the natural energy based taijutsu that the toads teach people. This is a passive form that basically allows the user to use their taijutsu even deadlier, because even if they don't hit you, you're still going to be hit even though you aren't physically connected. Naruto strikes land even after you dodge because the nature energy around him strikes as well. Then you have senjutsu enhanced ninjutsu. So all the attacks you use, including say stuff like the Rinnegan variations become even more powerful. The Rinnegan, the Rasen Shuriken, all of them are boosted with nature energy. Hashirama's wood release, even that was able to reach god levels of power due to the Sage Mode enhancement, evident in how he was able to restrain the Ten Tails with his Torii Gates. Then you have even more advantages here. So Sage Mode is so feared and respected even amongst Akatsuki level threats because there is no tail beast required. You don't need a Biju to unlock this form. It is 100% earned through training and willpower. chakra. You just need to have the required high chakra levels. As the manga puts it, enormous amounts of chakra is required to even attempt this training. But in return, one of the benefits you get is that, again, you get that massive chakra boost because it adds a different layer of power on top of what you already have without, say, having to get your body damaged the way that the inner gates do. When you open up the inner gates and you get more access to chakra, your body is damaged in the process. With Sage Mode, you bypass this, and depending on how large your chakra reserves are, you're pulling out more chakra in the form of nature energy than what you would get if you use the 8 inner gates. It's also perfect for countering high-level enemies depending on who they are. So when Jiraiya fought against Pain, that helped him immensely, and when Naruto's fighting against the Nine Tails, it allowed Naruto to gain the upper hand. It's also something that is accessible to those who are deemed worthy. In a world where you have special bloodlines and magical eyes and curses, aliens, and etc., Sage Mode, the reason why Sage Mode stands out amongst all the Naruto powers is that it is a path of effort. It's not necessarily through inheritance. Your chakra levels are something that you can train to raise yourself. It's all effort. Now, when you get into weaknesses and limitations, there are a few here. So Sage Mode's not perfect. In fact, mastering it means confronting death itself. Here's why. It requires stillness to gather nature energy. You must remain perfectly still in order to gain nature chakra. In battle, this is almost important to do without a partner like a toad or a clone. You also run the risk of petrification. Gather too much energy without balance, then you turn into stone. Literally. Just ask the toads. Then there's also the problem where you have a time limit. So without a perfect Sage Mode, like the 6-pass Sage Mode that Hagoromo gave to Naruto, which, reminder, 6-pass Sage Mode, 6-pass power, two different things. One is given by Hagoromo, the other one is attained when you get the 9 Biju chakra. Standard Sage Mode has a strict time limit before the natural energy runs out. Also, Sage Mode users, they're still going to be vulnerable to certain things like genjutsu and absorption. While it is powerful, it doesn't provide immunity to ocular jutsu like the sharingan genjutsu or chakra absorption like the Preta path. But if you got a 500 IQ like Naruto, then you're able to figure out a workaround to it. Naruto basically said, suck up all this nature energy and you get turned into a toad. Now, there are some ways to bypass the disadvantages of Sage Mode. You can do what Jiraiya did, which is use Sage Art Amphibian Jutsu to have 2 toads on your shoulders so they can gather nature energy for you like Jiraiya did in order to prevent him from exhausting the nature energy gathered while fighting. And speaking of Jiraiya, the whole reason why he's got the warts and the web feet and webbed hands and etc. is because Jiraiya cannot perfectly draw in nature energy. Now, Naruto, this is where it gets interesting because people all rightfully say, hey, Naruto uses shadow clones for Sage Mode. Naruto can still go into Sage Mode without shadow clones. Let's get that clear. But there are some drawbacks to Naruto using shadow clones for this. So even for as big of a chakra pool as Naruto has, he is limited in how many shadow clones he can make to gather nature energy, and it goes back to one of Naruto's core weaknesses, him not being the best at mental related things, which is yin related things, which meditation is a part of that. Because if he makes more than a certain number of clones and he has them tasked with making the attempt to gather nature energy while his main body is fighting, then the clones will get distracted. That's not my headcanon. He literally tells us in Naruto chapter 434, that's exactly why he cannot make more than a certain number of clones to draw in nature energy and while fighting with shadow clones, because the moment he goes over a certain number of shadow clones, like say 3 shadow clones on the battlefield while he's gathering nature energy with the other clones, it overloads the clones themselves. Now, Kabuto is also where it gets interesting. So Kabuto bypassed this weakness by using the DNA from Jugo, since Jugo's clan has a unique Kekkei Genkai that allows them to actively gather nature energy at all times, which is how Kabuto could stay in Sage Mode for so long. Then you have the benefit of being a perfect Jinchuriki, where someone like Naruto and anyone else who's a perfect Jinchuriki who knows Sage Mode, which right now that's Naruto, but basically the Biju inside of you can gather nature energy for you and only do it in a few moments, whereas Naruto would have to sit there, twiddle his thumbs, eat some paint chips, sniff some glue, And then while he's meditating, going to Sage Mode. Naruto fans, I'm sorry, couldn't help it. Now, in terms of why Sage Mode is so feared. Sage Mode terrifies even the most elite shinobi who know about it for one simple reason. It's a power that doesn't rely on bloodline or forbidden science. It is earned, and it is dangerous. Naruto at Sage Mode defeated Pain, the man who killed Jiraiya, and the man who, once all of the 6 paths of Pain chakra was concentrated into one, he blew up the entire village. Kabuto had Sage Mode and was able to nearly overwhelm Itachi, Edo Itachi, who did not have the drawback that sick Itachi had. His body wasn't failing him, and EMS Sasuke. Kabuto was able to push them to their limit despite both of those people being high-level shinobi. Then Hashirama Sage Mode, it allowed him to defeat Madara Uchiha despite Madara having the Nine Tails right there with him. This isn't a weapon. This is basically a transformation of the soul. That is why it is so feared. It elevates a shinobi into something that is more than human. Now, we get into the nitty-gritty, which is the Buddhism and Shinto inspiration. So let's dive deeper, because Sage Mode isn't just a power-up. It's spiritually inspired by real-world Eastern philosophies, especially Shintoism and Buddhism. So in Buddhism, you have the concept of enlightenment through balance. Gathering nature energy requires perfect stillness and mental discipline. Like a monk entering into meditation, a sage must master detachment, focus, and inner harmony, mirroring the Buddhist path to nirvana. In Shintoism, the connection is even stronger. It's a direct connection to the nature kami. So in Shinto beliefs, nature, it is sacred. The rivers, the mountains, the animals, they are all inhabited by kami, which are the spirits, the gods. Sage Mode is literally connecting with the spirit of the natural world to draw in power, like a human that is communicating with a god. Mount Miyaboku and the Toad Sages, they resemble the yokai and the kami, being guardian spirits that pass on divine wisdom. The same with the White Snake Sage. There's also the fact that you have a triple balance here: physical, spiritual, and natural chakra. Like Buddhism, you have the 3 treasures: body, speech, and mind. Sage Mode is built on the balance between the body, which is the physical chakra. You'll hear me say that is yang chakra. The mind and the spirit, which is spiritual chakra, which you've heard me recall that as being yin chakra, and nature energy itself, which is senjutsu. So in conclusion, Sage Mode is more than a power-up. It's a reflection of the Naruto universe's deepest themes: growth through suffering, strength through harmony, and the idea that true power doesn't come from blood or rage, it comes from balance. In a world filled with cursed eyes and aliens and stolen DNA, Sage Mode is a quiet rebellion, a return to nature, to discipline, and to do something even gods in the Naruto world would fear: make a human into an enlightened being, a true spiritual power. Obviously, if you learned anything new today, or if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to the channel, share this with your fellow shinobi, and click here on the left to check out more videos from the Ninjutsu Handbook. Click here up top for videos from my One Piece channel if you want to see me do a similar thing with One Piece, or click here on the right for videos from my Anime Explain channel, where I do the same thing with all other anime that aren't Naruto.